It's We'll See About That with World Series MVP Ron Cey.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to We'll See About That. Ron Cey here with Mike Gary and our in-house guests, Steve Markinson and Corey Marino. And, these last few days, I've been trying to think of what would be appropriate to start this show off, and I can't lead with anything else than the horrific wildfires that have taken place in Southern California. I've been fortunate to be on the radar and no closer than that. But the devastation that has taken place is the worst thing that I've seen in my life here in Southern California. I've been here for 50 years. I was also on the outside of the Lahaina fire here a few years ago. This one here beats it by a long shot. And all the people that have suffered and lost everything that they've had, what an incredible nightmare this is for all those people.
Yeah, absolutely. I was up in the kind of the impact zone of the Eaton fire on Sunday and got to see, as far as I can get up, a little bit of the devastation, and it's mind-numbing. It's absolutely unbelievable. It's going to take years, if not decades, to recover from that.
So were you guys affected, Steve, Corey, at all?
As far as we were concerned, the only we did get one of those notices on the phone on Friday. Live near West Hills, and it really was. We live in the flatlands, so it wasn't going to come near us whatsoever. But you have to heed to these emergency little things that come over your phone and say, "Yeah, pack up and get ready." And if you have to, you have to, And it opens up your eyes as to what, unfortunately, devastation can do. And
Yeah, that West Hills fire. I was out my front door and I saw that, and they scorched that. They took care of that in a
quickly,
real good
hurry. Yeah.
There was a one above me in Topanga Canyon. I think at Fernwood. I think that went down. But yeah, we're on the radar, but the wind usually blows towards the ocean from Santa Ana. So we got hit hard with the gusts, 99 miles an hour in Woodland Hills. But right now we're one of the more fortunate ones. Corey, how about you?
Yeah, I'm a little bit more north than all of you, so I've been pretty well protected, and we had a little bit of just a standby, but yeah, I have a bag ready, and then just now trying to check in on all my friends, family, and acquaintances throughout LA.
Well, for those who are in a much worse situation than we are, we certainly hope that you manage this. We're all thinking of you, and our hearts go out to all of you. Broke our hearts as well. We're going to return with We'll See About That right after this message.
Very nicely done. Great tone. All right, here we go for number 2. 10 minutes. 10 minutes. Number 2. What are we going to do? Number 2.
I think we can end up to, maybe with a little touch, but the rest of the time we'll probably spend just talking about the playoffs.
Yeah, we should probably go through these wild card games.
You going to do Mike McCarthy, or do you want to do the playoffs first?
We can always do Mike McCarthy.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of Mike McCarthy, so I don't really care whether Deion Sanders or Troy Aikman, run the Cowboys.
What about Bill Belichick?
Well, but he's stuck in North Carolina.
Yeah.
He's got a $10 million buyout. That's all it would take.
Yeah. So.
Look. I suppose anything can happen. I mean, what's his name? The guy that went from USC to Tennessee to Mississippi.
Lane Kiffin.
Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin. What he played? He coached 3 games in Tennessee and then bolted or something.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, okay. I mean, there's no loyalty. I mean, whatever's the best deal that's out there, I guess you're going to take. But I'd be kind of surprised if Belichick ran on that. But if you offer him something you can't refuse, I guess you take it.
What about Pete Carroll?
Ooh, good question.
Pete Carroll was mentioned as possibly the coach for the Chicago Bears. He's doing I personally, I like Pete. I like the way that he gets done. I like the competitive level that he's established. We can all talk about that too, if you want.
Well, but he's also looking at the Raider job.
Well, I mean, look, I think that he's got a lot of options.
Yeah, he
you know?
does.
I think the Bears were interviewing the Notre Dame coach too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He said he might.
Oh, really?
He said he
Yes.
likes
I know
where
that.
he's at Notre Dame, and we'll see how he does in the playoffs.
I got to tell you what, though, that guy from Notre Dame's sitting pretty right now. Though.
Oh, you think, man?
And if there's any school that can offer a competitive salary to the NFL, it's Notre Dame.
Yeah.
And you know what? And without a lot of the extra,
it's
crap that
doing
goes
it
along
again.
with it.
Yeah.
But the landscape of college football's changed forever too. When you bring in the NILs and the transfer portal, I mean, you're pretty close to professional football.
Yeah.
I don't know how else you talk it
Yeah.
that way, but it is there.
Are we having some problems over there?
No,
Yeah,
mine
we're
was,
having probably.
it was just cutting in and out.
You want to put it in the other one? Now it's stopped, obviously.
I see.
All right, go ahead and talk and see.
Now it's not doing anything.
You have no audio at all?
No.
Check.
No,
Good.
I can
Yeah,
hear
yeah,
it.
yep.
I can hear it.
I didn't hear it in me.
You don't hear anything?
Nope. Well, now you're doing the other one.
What about now? Go ahead and talk, Corey.
Hello.
I can
Doop
hear
doop
him.
doop.
Is it cutting out?
Hello? Yeah, a little, but it's still scratchy.
Let me hear it.
It is what it is.
Let me hear it. Check. Sounds fine to me. Sounds fine. Check.
Let's see.
Yeah, the only thing with Pete is for Chicago, I think he'd rather take the Raiders because he's up there in age, so he probably wants to stay on the West Coast.
All right, here we go, gentlemen. Segment
City
2.
of Chicago's got a lot to offer, though. I'm
Yeah,
telling
I
you.
can go for a nice Polish dog right now.
Yeah.
Masa of Echo Park, amazing, amazing Chicago-style deep dish out here in California.
Okay.
Where is this?
We order our pizza from Chicago.
From Lou Milano's.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking about doing that too.
Yeah, it's trust me, it's worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they you can order this, that styrofoam
Yeah.
thing, and you got like 12 of them in there, and they're all. I mean, there's like 3 or 4 choices what you can get, or more. But yeah, I mean they're great.
Yeah.
They really are.
And you just put them in the oven?
Yeah.
Oh, man,
Yeah.
I got to do that then.
Well, what's the place off of is it Coldwater and
A Taste of Chicago used to have good ones, but I think they're closed.
no, across the street from Whole Foods off of shit. I forgot the name of it. But it's the same place that's in Chicago.
There's one.
The deep dish.
Yeah, there is a Chicago deep dish place.
Right there.
And I've been there, and I got one to go, and the sauce spilled all over my car.
I got to tell you, I have a rival for the deep dish. My sister, when she was healthy,
Yeah.
used to make from scratch the most amazing deep dish. It had absolutely everything in it, and it was so good. I mean, you could just say, "Just bring me another slice."
So
Bring
why
me another
don't
slice.
you get the recipe and we'll?
It's one of those homemade recipes.
Yeah.
Well, it's like they're it's
It-
like
it
you're not
gets-
going to find out what it is.
But it gets handed down.
Yeah, well, it's about
and-
that time.
All right, gentlemen, let's get
Yeah,
this.
I
We can
know.
let's save the deep dish for the.
Sorry.
They still call me the Penguin. Okay, we are back with We'll See About That, and we're going to try to liven up the solemn mood that's here in Southern California. Hopefully we'll give you an escape for the next 45 minutes or so. But just a reminder that Melissa's Produce is the proud partner of We'll See About That. Be sure to use my VIP code RONSAY when checking out at melissas.com, and please do check that out. There's some great stuff over there. All right, we're going to move on into, where pro football is, and we've gone through a round or two, and I guess the appropriate thing to do, since it's in our backyard, is talk about the Rams' incredible victory over the Minnesota Vikings. I have to believe that the Rams played by far and away their best game of the year. Their defense was incredible. Minnesota had an extremely difficult day. 9 sacks, an interception, a fumble, missed wide open receivers. I guess Sam Darnold saved his absolutely worst game for this day. And unfortunately for Minnesota fans, the Rams, who also had to relocate and go over to Arizona. A lot of people were probably very disappointed with that, especially the vendors at SoFi Stadium. But what an incredible victory for the Rams.
Yeah, it seems that the Rams definitely had some LA Strong going on, being moved over to this neutral site. And also it seems like Sam Darnold, who I'm a fan of, his coach turned into a pumpkin this last week. So
Yeah.
Corey, your take.
Yeah, his coach actually did turn into pumpkin. He was playing the second, third, and fourth quarter like they were either up or that they were in a 0-0 game. They ran it too much, and I guess the way with your quarterback getting sacked 9 times, you're not really going to try and drop back a whole lot. But yeah, Sam Darnold didn't play well, and the Vikings have lost 4 games this year, and it was earlier in the year they lost to the Lions, and the next week they lost to the Rams, and then they just did it again. They lost to the Lions in the last week of the season. And so those 4 games, it's just they knew how to play them and they knew how to match up, and it just wasn't. And the defense came out. Those young guys on the Rams came out like gangbusters and were just all over Sam Darnold.
They had incredible energy on defense. The offense, I think, was they got off to a great start. Opened up with their first drive, scoring a touchdown. Followed it up with a field goal, put the pressure on Minnesota. They couldn't find themselves in the first quarter, didn't find themselves in the second quarter.
No, it was over.
And the Rams scored at the end of the first half, and they got the kickback to start the second half. So all the strategy by winning the coin flip turned out. So, yeah, they put them in a big hole, too much to recover from. The Rams go on and play Philadelphia. That could be a different story. The other games, you've got the Chargers kind of took a dive as well. They did not show up for that game. No offense. Their vaunted defense, who led the league in defensive scoring against, just could not hold the Houston Texans, led by C.J. Stroud.
Yeah, and it's almost a very similar game. 2 quarterbacks, Justin Herbert and Sam Darnold, had amazing years. Justin Herbert threw 3 interceptions all season and ended up throwing 4 interceptions in this game alone. So it's just two quarterbacks having the worst game of the season at the wrong time. But it's also 2 teams in the Vikings and the Chargers that have bright futures. And a lot of the people, most of the analysts, a lot of them put the Texans as an easy loss and the Chargers to even have a chance to beat the Chiefs next week, but they didn't even get past the Texans. Texans played an all-around great game. They didn't make many mistakes. They took care of every one of Herbert's mistakes and got offensive production out of it. So the Texans came in and played, and 2 years in a row they came into a wild card game with winning their division, and they came out with the win even though people doubted them.
Can I say something? Yeah. Home field. I think did all the teams except the Commanders game.
Yeah, every number 1 seed won.
Yeah, right, and I think that plays a part into it.
Except for the Bucks.
Yeah, right, and you have to go with the fans as well too, man. You get that hype going, and you're going to play a little bit better, I would think, instead of being on the road. But I do agree. I think there was a similarity between the Charger game and the Ram game as well.
Is this the game that gets C.J. Stroud paid?
No, not yet.
Not yet.
No, because if he gets, I don't see them beating. They're playing the Chiefs. I mean, they'll have a better game against the Chiefs if they played the Bills or the Ravens, because they played the Ravens and only scored 2 points a couple weeks ago. But CJ Stroud's only in his second year, so he still has 3 more years on that contract
on his rookie deal.
So we'll see. You never want to wish injury, but injury could happen. He could do something bad that way, or he could just go downhill. But he is on a trajectory to keep going up and up and up and getting better and better each year.
Well, the Buffalo Bills certainly took care of business. They had a first-round beating that they put on the Denver Broncos. I thought the Broncos would show up a little bit better, but the Buffalo Bills just on both sides of the ball just were dominating.
This was tough for Corey and I because Corey and I are both Broncos fans, and
But I think the Broncos went as far as they were going to go.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I really do. They had a great year, second year for their coach as well, too. He put it all together, and I think they got a really bright future, really.
they just got to fix that offense. I mean, only 159 total yards.
Yeah, and then they don't have enough wide receivers. The running backs aren't good. They don't have a tight end.
But they'll
and
get there.
They have all their. The good thing is all their line is locked up for the next couple of years, but they just need to get a center. The center was wavering this year, but other than that, young quarterback. I didn't expect them to make the playoffs, and then they were paying $80 million to not have Russell Wilson on the team, so it's just going up and up with those guys.
Well, they often say, like in certain sports, like you want to ride a hot goaltender if you're in the NHL. You want to ride if you got a hot starting pitcher or closer, you want to ride that. And it seems like Josh Allen right now is one of the hottest quarterbacks in the league.
Well, MVP.
Well, that's debatable. We have another guy in Baltimore that was named first-team All-Pro, in Lamar Jackson, in spite of the great year that Josh Allen had. Lamar Jackson's statistics are better, folks.
Yeah.
They really are.
They are.
And they've got a juggernaut now. And with Derrick Henry just gaining yards after yards after yards and scoring 2 touchdowns a game, he is a monster. He finished second in rushing behind Barkley. With Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry, they are my team to make it to the Super Bowl. And they just got beaten. They beat down Pittsburgh here a couple weeks ago, and then they, based on the playoffs and where the seeding was, just did it all over again. And they were in complete control of that game. So my money right now is on Baltimore. But, the Philadelphia Eagles also took care of business too. And they're one of my 5 teams, I think, that have a real good shot at trying to win this thing. They took down a very, very good Green Bay Packer team.
Yeah, that was a very exciting game. The Eagles, it seems like every time you look up, you see the Eagles are like going to go deep in the playoffs. What is it about the Eagles' culture? Is it I
think it's their defense, really. I think that's where they start from. I think Baltimore, although Baltimore's defense does not rank very well, they have been playing better here of late, and they do have a number of all-pro performers on defense. So I like the way they're stacking up. But look, the Philadelphia did beat Baltimore here. I don't know, maybe it was midway through the season when Baltimore was kind of trying to find themselves a little bit. That was a close game, but those teams are going to be in the mix for sure. Washington Commodores, Jaden Daniels, man, a rookie, taking your team to not only a divisional title, but you win your first playoff game on the road.
Yeah.
Outstanding.
Yeah, all the Commanders fans that I know are just like it's a brand new day because it feels like Dan Snyder owned the team 1,000 years ago because they're out of the.
He's got no blood in his veins.
One of the fans I know said that if Snyder was still owning the team, that doink would have gone out instead of in.
That's true,
Very
by
good.
the way. That
Yeah.
was an incredible way to finish that one game. Doinkers. All right, we're going to be back with more pro football right after this message.
Nice line, Corey. All right, so we talked. We got all these except we should talk about the Ravens and the Steelers, and then we should go through and do our predictions for the next round, which is going to be Texans, Chiefs, Bills, Ravens.
No, you talked about the Ravens.
Are we in 3 or 4?
3.
Yeah. So we still got one.
So the upcoming games we have are Texans, Chiefs, Bills, Ravens, and Commanders, Lions, Eagles against the Rams.
Okay, yeah, I'll break it down and then you guys.
Okay. All right, nicely done, gentlemen. Here we go.
Hello, Ron Say. Okay, we are back. We'll see about that. And we have more on the pro football playoffs. And let's go to the divisional round in the AFC. We've got the Houston Texans and the defending world champion Kansas City Chiefs at home. And we've got the Buffalo Bills against the Baltimore Ravens. Let's go to the first game. The Texans travel to Kansas City. Who do we like here?
Kansas City, not even close.
Not even close.
I
says
don't
Steve
think so.
Parkinson.
I mean,
Yeah.
and unless something really happens that turns this game around, I just think that Kansas City is way too much for them. Again, Texans went as far as they could, and you're going into the Lions' den. They're world champs, and I just think they got too much.
Yeah, I think the Chiefs handle the Texans. I think you give Andy Reid that much time to break down his opponents, and if it was going to be the Chargers, it was going to be a little bit harder just because that would have been another divisional game. But the Texans, I don't think they have enough. They have, like, C.J. Stroud's playing well, but I haven't seen him do any fourth quarter amazingness yet to where he can out fourth quarter the great Patrick Mahomes.
Well, as I'll offer a contrarian take for the sake of the content of the show.
Go right ahead.
We just watched, and I know it's a different game, but we watched in the college football playoff that all the first seeds who had byes lost.
Yep.
And also we saw Patrick Mahomes kind of being rested, and Andy Reid rested a lot of his players these last couple of games of the season. So I wonder if there's going to be a lingering hangover of that. And I just want to throw something in real fast about the Chiefs. Taylor Swift just donated $15 million to the California fire
That's
relief,
very nice.
which is very nice of her. And then
Yes.
her beau, Mr. Kelsey, donated $1 million. Why couldn't Mr. and Mrs. Taylor
Football.
Swift just donated $16 million and said, "This is from the both of us"? I
Yeah,
think that was a
yeah,
little bit
yeah,
disrespectful
yeah.
for Mr. Kelsey.
No, I don't know. Maybe there was pressure to follow suit.
Is it disrespectful? Because the amount of money they both made, is his $1 million more than her 15?
Well, Corey,
compared to how much she's made in her whole.
Well, obviously she's got more money than he does, but
That's what-
so
she cheaped
yeah.
out. He's like, I gave her $1 million.
you go take your girl out for dinner and she ends up paying 80% of the tab. I mean, that could be a little bit emasculating.
I am pleased that they both decided to donate.
Yes.
By the way, since we are now mentioning athletes who have contributed, Freddie Freeman donated to the cause as well. And I just want to say, I usually don't do this, but having a player that is a Dodger that makes that kind of money, that feels who I'd like to believe he is. He was the first one to step forward. Mm-hmm. So kudos to you, Freddie. Thank you so much for supporting the needy people in any way whatsoever here, and the firefighters and everything. What an incredible job that they did to get this thing under control, of which we're still kind of waiting for this thing to finally calm down, but I think we're in good hands right now. Hopefully Mother Nature will continue to cooperate. But yes, thank you so much for your gestures. And now back to the Kansas City Chiefs, which I think, being at home with Patrick Mahomes, their defense being, I think, a lot better than what Houston saw from the Chargers. The reigning champions should win this game. I don't know what the spread is, but Patrick Mahomes has a way of finding a way to win regardless. So, yeah, I would say Kansas City Chiefs. I think we all agree on that. The next game is very intriguing for me because you have the two candidates that are vying for the most valuable player in the NFL. And you've got Josh Allen at home with the Buffalo Bills against Lamar Jackson and the incoming Baltimore Ravens, and they're both playing well. This, to me, is the premier game of this next round. Who do you like?
Okay, I to be honest, I'm thinking about it in my head. I think Derrick Henry is going to maybe make a difference in this game. I think it's going to be close. Again, another home game, but I'm going to go with Baltimore.
All right, Steve ticks Baltimore.
Yeah, watching the Ravens this year and then watching the Bills this year, both have had amazing seasons. I just don't know how you stop Lamar and Derrick Henry when they're on a roll. That option to the Lamar can take it, he can pass it,
Run it.
and if he hands it off, you now have to tackle a 280-pound Derrick Henry that's rolling at you, and if you have to tackle him multiple times in a game, you're just not gonna. I don't know. It's gonna be cold. It might snow in Buffalo, which will be a little bit more for the running game. But James Cook on the Bills is really good running back as well. He torched the Broncos. He had 100 yards in the first half. I think this might be the best game of all the playoffs, not
Right.
just this round. But I'm also going to go with the Ravens.
Yeah, this game definitely I have circled, and as Ron said, you have two possible MVPs, and I think that all week long you're going to see all the sports media, being this is going to be the Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen showdown. And I love both these players. I really want to see the Bills move forward, just because they haven't won a Super Bowl in my lifetime, but I do think that Baltimore, if Lamar Jackson can do two things extremely well, he can pass and he can run.
Yes.
Where Josh Allen is more of a pocket passer. He does have wheels, but I just think that Lamar Jackson, with the running game as well, overall with the Ravens, that they're going to come out on top on here.
And I agree, and I hope it's a great game. I think the fans deserve to see a great game because both of these teams could be Super Bowl champions. I think they're both that good. But on this up and coming Sunday, I'm going to stay with my gut feeling, and I'm going to stay with the Ravens. I believe they have a juggernaut going, and certainly with the running game that Buffalo has, and Josh Allen being very similar to a Josh Allen being able to run. This should be a very exciting game, and I hope it is. But my vote goes to Baltimore.
All right.
Okay, we're going to jump over to the NFC. I got some terrific matchups over here too. We've got maybe the fan favorite in this, the Washington Commodores, going off against the number one seed, the Detroit Lions, who've had a terrific year. I think for the most part, I would say that from start to finish, they may have been the best team. But Kansas City certainly is right up there with it. How do you guys see this game?
Another one. Okay, Lions are at home. Great year. Maybe one of the teams favored to get to the Super Bowl. They've had the last few weeks not doing that great. I think the crowd's going to be into this one. I think Goff's going to have a great game. And I just think that the Lions got too much for Washington again. This is another team that has gone as far as they could with a rookie quarterback. What a job he has done. But I just I'd like to see the Lions in the Super Bowl. I really would.
Yeah, I think the Lions are, like you said, the fan favorite. Oh, no, you said the Commanders are the fan favorite, but the Lions have been the fan favorites like the whole year since they lost in the NFC Championship last year.
Yeah.
A lot of people like what Dan Campbell's doing down there. Goff's likable. They have great skill positions all over the field. The Commanders are just fun to watch. Jaden Daniels, in the last playoff game, he threw for 3 touchdowns and had no turnovers and in a road playoff game, and the only person to ever do that was Peyton Manning, ever. And not even just as a regular player, he was a rookie. Am I going to do it?
Do it.
I'm going to do it.
Do it.
I think
You're
the
gonna
rookie
do
I
it.
think the
You're
rookie
gonna
takes
Do it.
I think the rookie takes down the Lions and the Commanders beat the Lions and Detroit is unfortunately upset once again. And I think
Okay.
and I think the Commanders might do my next pick, but might set up a divisional NFC Championship game.
I think I agree with Corey. I think that the Lions are cursed. They've always been cursed, and I think that their end of the season they were on the downslope, while the Commanders were on the upslope. And also, the federal government actually just gave the Commanders permission to reoccupy RFK Stadium, and I think that's going to really energize the team, energize the fan base. And I'm picking the Commanders in this one.
Okay, we've got 2 people who want to go with the upset.
Well,
I'm in a little bit of disagreement because the Detroit Lions did have a very important game to play against the Minnesota Vikings at the end of the year that was going to determine who the number 1 seed is. I think momentum is, I think Detroit has been the better team all year. I think Jeff Goff has had a terrific year. I think he is a candidate for MVP. I think their skilled group this year, based on what happened, is the number one skilled group in the league when they had a healthy Montgomery. I did give that to the 49ers in the beginning of the season with all their skilled players, but I think Detroit took that from them this year by the way they played. I do not see an upset here, but look, crazier things can happen there. Somebody is going to have a tough game. Somebody is going to get upset. I don't know which one it's going to be, but you guys feel that it's this game here. But I'm going to stick with what I feel has a team that has a real legitimate shot. If they can stay healthy and not have any more defensive injuries, they've got a real good shot at going all the way as well.
I just want to say, any given Sunday.
Any given Sunday.
You never know.
Indeed.
Never know.
We're running a little bit of time on this segment, so we should probably get to the last of our NFC matchups, Eagles versus Rams. Because that Rams game last night, I think we might see that the Rams are also riding that wave of momentum. So
Yeah.
we got a lot to talk about, folks. We'll see about that. Ron, where can people find your fantastic book, Penguin Power?
They can find that at the ronsayshow.com. You can also have a menu list of all of our guests and previous shows that is accessible from the website. And Penguin Power also has multiple signing options. Please take a look at that. You might find something you like over there.
Yeah, and what if people want to follow you on Instagram?
Well, that is the official Ron Say, and we're available on both. So please find a way to go to those spots.
We'll be right back, you guys. We'll see about that. Stay with us. We can talk about the Eagles versus the Rams, and then we can talk about some of the coaching changes.
Oh, you don't want to do the Ohio State Notre Dame?
Yeah, and we'll get to that after that. Yeah.
Should we wait to talk college football?
Yeah. Well, I was thinking about you want to wait till next week.
Well, I'm saying, do you want to?
Well, I think we'll come back. Well, I'll do this week in Dodger history. We'll talk about Eagles, Rams. We'll talk about the coaching stuff. And then if we have enough time at the end of that, we can just do a brief preview of the national championship game. Perfect. All right. Cool. All right, gentlemen, here we go. Got my paperwork here. All right, here we go. And we're back. We'll see about that with the MVP champion, Ron Say. I am Mike Gary, and this week in Dodger history presented by BFF Financial. It's 1981. Cardinal right-hand legend Bob Gibson received 337 votes of the 401 available votes. That's 84%, folks, in his first year of eligibility for the Hall of Fame, and was elected to the Hall of Fame that year. Well-known Dodger Don Drysdale, Gil Hodges, and his twin slugger Harmon Killebrew fell short of the votes needed for induction, so it's just not now that angry baseball writers are keeping people out of the Hall of Fame.
And I can tell you that I'm a little bit surprised that those three guys didn't get in. If he was the only one elected, that sounds kind of odd to me. You know, these guys, especially Gil Hodges. Gil Hodges posthumously gets into the Hall of Fame. And I can tell you how I feel about being thrown into a posthumous selection. I don't feel really great about it. Okay?
Like a lot of guys.
It's unfortunate that, you finally, cleared the air and gave him what he deserved, and he can't enjoy it. And it's just, it's shameful to me. It's almost like don't bother with it now. It's too late.
That's what you get when you let all these egghead writers vote for the Hall of Fame rather than the players themselves.
Well, I mean, look at the conversation that was had after Pete Rose had passed on, right? Well, vote him into the Hall of Fame. Oh, really? So you want to do the same thing? You want to vote him in posthumously? Why? What good is it going to do? He didn't have a chance to enjoy it. He fought his entire life trying to get in. He dedicated his whole life trying to get into that thing. And I'm not going to tell you that I felt bad for him at times, devoting so much of his time.
Yeah.
And there will be a lot of people who are going to say, well, look at what Pete Rose did here and what he did over there, and it's not just about gambling. You know, he has things that should have kept him out of there. And whatever it is, to me, this idea of voting somebody in posthumously, I don't want any part of it.
Ty Cobb's in the Hall of Fame, and he actually entered the stands and stabbed a fan at one point. So I think that bad behavior is not, should keep you out of the Hall of Fame.
No, and that's 100 years ago, and things were a lot different, and it's hard to believe that I can say that 100 years ago, but it was, and amazing. Anyway, let's.
Yeah, we got one more game to discuss for the divisional round of the NFC. This is the Eagles, the Philly Eagles fly, versus our hometown Los Angeles Rams.
Yeah, I think that the Eagles came off a beating. It would have been worse, but Saquon slid. It would have been 29-10. But the Rams just came off whooping the Vikings too. I like both teams. The Rams are on a tear right now. They're on fire. The Eagles look like they're getting back to it. I think let's just say the NFC is just all upsets. I'm gonna go with the Eagles. I'm gonna go with the Eagles and make it a divisional NFC championship. Eagles versus Commanders in the semis.
Wow. Okay.
Okay, let's see here now. I think the two teams match up really good. Okay. Rams, as Corey said, momentum is on their side. Short week to kind of be, they got to play Sunday. They just played yesterday. Going into that Philly fan base, man, you got to, you just don't know. I think Jalen Hurts and the team didn't play as well. Okay, they got through the Packers, and unfortunately, I know I'm LA, but I got to go with the Eagles too.
All right, traitor. I have the Rams in this one. I actually think that the short week's going to help them. It's going to help them, especially because there's just so much stuff going on here in Los Angeles. It's going to keep them more together, keep them, I think, a little bit more joined at the hip, both emotionally and physically. Also, I think that that Matt Stafford, I think he sees personally his window is closing. And so I think that he's going to be even more motivated to really perform and try to bring the Super Bowl, back here to LA, for all the LA fans and for everybody who's going through all these terrible things here in Southern California.
Interesting comments, guys. I'm going to start with Corey. Saquon Barkley, he did. He slid, and he had 70 yards of more rushing yardage in front of him and another touchdown, and he gave it up. Just like he gave it up to Eric Dickerson in the last game of the year by sitting out and protecting what's more important. My hat's off to this guy. I think this guy's classy. I think he's a winner. I think he provides Philadelphia with exactly what they wanted to have come out of this. I thought that they did play well against Green Bay. Their defense was solid. The other side of the coin is I think the Rams have peaked, and I think that they're playing their best football right now. The energy that went into that game surrounding the circumstances, knowing that they're going to have to be on the road, gives them impetus. If there is a game out of this that I see an upset, it's this one. And I think it all points up to Philadelphia, you better be prepared because this is going to be your biggest challenge. You got through the regular season with a great 14-3 record, I believe, or 13-4. So you have been one of the better teams. I do believe at this point in time that they are the better team, but the Rams have momentum. They have a purpose. This could be really, really interesting. Like I said, if there's an upset, it's this one, and I would believe that the Rams are capable of doing it. Yeah, for sure.
There you have it, folks. All right, now we've gone through our playoff preview, recap the wild card games. Let's talk about some of the other issues in the NFL. As always, this as the season ends, the chopping block comes out, folks. The guillotine gets sharpened, and we've seen a lot of coaches quote unquote part ways with their teams, specifically Mike McCarthy, who's just been on the hot seat all year. It was announced he won't return as Cowboys coach. It wasn't really said if he was fired or if he was asked to leave or whatever. And now, you have Jerry Jones. Yeehaw! Jerry Jones, think, what's he going to do now? There's all these weird rumors that he's going to talk about Bill Belichick. Of course, Deion Sanders has to throw his hat in the ring. What do we think about who's going to be the next Cowboys coach, gentlemen? Corey, you go ahead.
I wouldn't even put past Jerry to go on the field and coach himself.
Well, hasn't he done that in the past?
He's definitely wanted to. But
yeah.
I don't know if I
really
don't think I think Deion might be using this situation to get more money from Colorado and to just stay because I think that's where he wants to be. And I didn't like McCarthy anyway. I think he got carried. I thought he got carried by Aaron Rodgers his whole coaching career. He's a good coach, but I think a lot of his excellence was through the quarterback. I think Jerry wants someone that's stable but won't take all the credit because he wants the credit.
Yes.
And I think, if I were Jerry, I'd want someone just to come build a culture and then bring other people in. And I think Pete Carroll would be a great addition to that team because Pete doesn't care if his name's on a trophy. He wants to go in there and make men better men, and he wants to have winning teams and win the right way. And I think it'd be a good matchup and have Dak under there, and they get a running back and get that offense going.
I just think that the Cowboys need a little bit more discipline. And you took the words right out of my mouth. I think Pete Carroll would be outstanding there. However, that being the case, I do think that he could run into Jerry Jones and they might not work things out together either. You got to have I hate to say it, a yes man to him until he decides he doesn't want to own the team anymore. But I have no guess as to who in the heck would be even wanting this job. I think it's just a disaster. And it's going to take a few years to get this team back up to where they can get into the playoffs. So choices, I couldn't think of anything right now.
Well, Jimmy Johnson, famously won 3 Super Bowls with the Dallas Cowboys, but he and Jerry Jones had a famous falling out because Jerry Jones felt that Jimmy Johnson was getting too much praise, too much credit, very similar to what happened with the Bulls with Phil Jackson. So I don't know. I mean, I think once Jerry Jones decides that he's actually going to step back and let his son, actually run things, I never think that's going to happen.
No.
Oh, no, of course not. It's that big Texas ego that keeps getting in the way. I mean, they are the wealthiest organization in football. They're valued at something like $8 billion or something. First of all, I don't care who coaches the Dallas Cowboys. It could be Deion, which I think he'll probably make a run for. He's all about hype. With Pete Carroll, I'd rather see him go to Chicago, quite honestly. I've always liked him as a coach. Yeah, he's surrounded by a little bit of controversy that took place at USC, but he's been a proven winner. And, I was sad that, he stepped down. One of my teams, the Seahawks, he won a Super Bowl. He lost a Super Bowl.
Famous
Give the ball to Marshawn Lynch, will you?
So between Chicago and the Raiders, if he had a choice, Pete Carroll, what organization do you think he's better at?
Well,
you still say
Chicago? Man?
Yeah, pardon me?
Are you a gambling man?
Somewhat.
I think it's the Raiders. It's definitely the Raiders. No one wants to have their boss breathing over their shoulder the entire time. Pete Carroll, and I believe, has a relationship with Tom Brady as well.
That's what I'm saying.
And so I think if Pete Carroll was going to coach in the NFL, it would probably be the Raiders.
Yeah.
So do you think that's a conflict a little bit? Huh? Brady with the Raiders and announcing?
I think if it was anybody else except Tom Brady, then it would be a conflict. But I think because it's Tom Brady and he's got such a huge following and he brings a lot of eyeballs to the screen, casual football fans, because he's one of the biggest stars, I think the league looks the other way.
Probably do.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's actually calling the Lions game, and I think the Raiders will be interviewing the Lions offensive coordinator Ben Johnson this year later this offseason as well. So people are already asking about the conflict of interest there, calling the game for the guy you're going to interview, and and stuff like that.
I mean,
so.
this stuff happens behind closed doors, anyways. Now we're just seeing it out in the open, and we're going to see as these contracts get bigger and bigger, especially in baseball. We're going to see these guys start picking up pieces of teams.
No, I get it. So back to the Cowboys for a second. Dak Prescott, is he your guy?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Injury prone. Too injury.
Got a lot of money.
But that's also why the Cowboys' job's not even that great. So you have the overbearing owner, you have a quarterback that you signed for a bunch of money that's not great, and then two of the teams in the division are in the playoffs still already, and one has a rookie quarterback in Jaden Daniels who's just going to keep going. And Mike said earlier in the show, the Eagles just find a way into the playoffs every year like this. So you're already going to be third in the division. You have Jerry ahead of you. It's not a great situation.
No, and I think it's going to take a while to rebuild that. Once again, Jerry Jones is the stumbling block, and he makes all the decisions. So good luck in Dallas. Yeah! All right, we're going to take a break and come back with We'll See About That right after this message.
Yeah, this is fun. I think we all needed this. This is fun.
You think you can get to those two guys that are banned for life?
Yeah, we should maybe talk about that. So this is the last segment here. So
Banned for life.
yeah, so let's.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I think you should do.
Go ahead. You guys.
All right, yeah. So with that, we'll probably just we already did the we did the formatics. So yeah. Okay. All right. Let's just roll with it.
Hey Ron, how you doing?
Campy, just fine.
Hey Say, how you doing it?
And we are back. We'll see about that. Wrapping things up. Once again, thank you so much for joining us. You can find our complete archives on theRonSayShow.com. Follow Ron on Instagram, The Real Ron Say. All right, to circle back to something that happened a couple months ago in the World Series. My Yankees, of course, lost. And sorry, Ron. And there was a famous incident that happened where two fans interfered with Mookie Betts trying to make a play down the right field line, very Bartman-esque. MLB finally, released their Warren report about this whole thing, and the consequences are that these two fans who remain nameless are banned from every MLB park for life.
Yeah.
Appropriate punishment?
Well, I mean, you saw what happened. I mean, it wasn't just, one of those ho-hum going after the ball thing and interfering. They actually grabbed onto his arm. They took the ball out of his glove, and they let him back into the park. They let him back. They couldn't deal with it at the moment. What do you guys think about it?
What took MLB so long? Okay, you it's right in front of you what these guys did. All right, you shouldn't have these people in the ballparks at all. I think it was the right decision. I think it just, to me, right after the baseball season was over, they should have just come out and said, "Hey," but it is what it is. It's done, and I think it's the proper decision.
Yeah, I think it's a proper decision. I think they mishandled it during the World Series. Those two guys went on shows, and Gronk had ended up being one of their frat brothers, and they were just like they were kind of like heroes of the Yankees, and I didn't like how it was portrayed. And I think you have to set the precedent. You can't touch the players like that. You can all go for one, and if your hand knocks into their glove, but they were grabbing elbows, grabbing gloves, they were yanking them across. I'm glad that they can't go to any other stadiums.
And you?
Yeah, of course. These guys should be banned for life. Also, I think that if they were let back into this Yankee Stadium, the Yankees should have been fine. Real fast before we go, you guys, let's just quick predictions for the national championship game. We got Notre Dame and Penn State. Steve?
Ohio State.
Yeah. I'm going to go with Ohio State.
Ohio
definitely.
State.
Yeah.
Ohio State, me. Yeah.
Ohio State.
Well, it's 3-1.
I'm not saying that they don't have a chance. Really, I think it's going to be a close game.
Well, I hope so.
Yeah,
and I
do.
hope that I think Notre Dame they've shown me a lot. I hope they can run the table. All right, there you have it. We will be back next week with We'll See About That. Thanks for joining us. Have a great weekend.